Heroes of Might and Magic 3, The Restoration of Arathia, was released February 28, 1999. It continued the story of Heroes of Might and Magic 2, as well as the story of Might and Magic 6, and serving as a prequel for Might and Magic 7. This is like Marvel Universe level of complicated here. The story revolves around Queen Catherine avenging the death of her father, King Griffinheart, who I think is someone referenced in 2. Like I said, this shit is complicated. You can either take the game at face value, or you can delve into the lengthy tomes of lore contained in these multiple interconnected game series. The game has 8 factions, up from 6 in the previous game, and there have been some changes, although the core gameplay is pretty much the same. For example, rather than each individual faction being associated with either might or magic, each faction will have heroes from either end of the spectrum, though they often still lean in one direction. Each faction is loosely associated with one resource that is used more than others to build up their town and buy high-level creatures. Towns themselves are less varied as far as creatures go if you're looking at their stats and skills and progression, since every town allows you to upgrade every creature. However, the towns are still distinguished through a variety of unique buildings and thematic art. This is the first game in the series to move away from the stylized cartoony art style, and instead much of the art is comprised of 3D models that have been kind of flattened into sprites. Which, back in the day, let me tell you, could really suck you in and make you think you're looking into an actual fantasy world filled with minotaurs and dragons and shit. I found a lot of people saw this move as making the game look more generic, and they missed the fun, bright, animated look of the previous games. Both have their merits, and both will give you different feelings while playing. Hero skills and attributes were tweaked, and the artifact system was revamped. Instead of your artifacts going into this just pit of magic the hero carries around, artifacts instead were placed onto a paper doll, kind of similar to, well, Diablo. In fact, the 2 games didn't come out very far apart. Maybe Diablo inspired this part of Heroes 3? Maybe. This method limited the number of effects you could have active on your hero at any given time, but it also spurred you into looking for the better versions of the artifacts for each of your slots. Heroes also had specializations, which could range from adding additional attack and defense to a particular type of monster, to bonuses, to skills, to always casting a certain spell at an expert level. It was one more useful thing to consider when buying heroes for your side, which happens a lot more in this game compared to previous ones. Prices of buildings and creatures seem to have been tweaked so that you're not constantly worrying about being able to buy all of your creatures, or picking which creatures to have in a hero's army. You'll rarely be struggling for resources in this game. The game had 2 expansions released for it. Armageddon's Blade on September 30th, 1999, which added a whole new faction and a large number of ridiculously fucking hard campaigns, and a large number of new heroes with strange and awesome specializations. On March 31st, 2000, the Shadow of Death expansion was released, that introduced combinable artifacts as well as a number of other small things, and gave a lot of backstory to a lot of people's favorite character, Sandro the Lich. Aside from this, Heroes Chronicles was a small series of games featuring simple, limited versions of the campaigns found in Heroes 3, and was meant as an introduction to the gameplay of Heroes of Might and Magic and providing some side stories, and the 8 chapters or segments or whatever the fuck were released from 2000 to 2001. Heroes 2 and 3 are the longest lasting and most loved games in the Heroes series, and Heroes 3 in particular still enjoys an active modding community and avid fanbase in fucking Russia! Also, Ubisoft, who after the demise of 3DO, purchased the rights to Might and Magic and Heroes of Might and Magic, and on January 31st, 2015 released an HD version of Heroes of Might and Magic 3. It does not include the expansions, and, well, you can probably find more on that on your own. Or just imagine how that went if you played any other Ubisoft games recently. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is fucking great, and I'm glad you folks are here to watch me suck at Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Alright, check it out. Wesley here playing Heroes of Might and Magic 3 complete. This just means that I've got the special 2 expansions installed along with the thing packaged, all, you know, whatever. Let's start a new game. And we'll do a campaign. You see Restoration of Arathia is here in the middle. Shadow of Death was one of the expansions. It's kind of a prequel, so it's above. And then Armageddon's Blade is the other one that's below. And let's just start at the beginning. That's what I usually do, I guess. You never get to see me really get super far in any of these games. I mean, for these ones at least, for the Heroes games, the gameplay is basically the same all the way through. It's just, if I was getting further on into, like, harder campaigns and scenarios and shit, you would probably be seeing me just fail a lot more and reload more saves and shit like that. So, got my starting hero. I mentioned the specializations, so you see here specialty is Ballista, and you see what it does. It increases the shit and stuff like that. Here's the kind of paper doll thing, so you can like put helmet, amulet, chest piece, all that kind of stuff. There's lots of resources and everything. It just seems cheaper. You're never going to be you know, struggling. And plus you get the 7 slots in your army instead of, I think, 5 in previous ones. So you can fit all of the creatures that you get in your town as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A lot of the resources, like the gold, like they added little sparkles on it. That probably is to help you see the things on the map. But other than that, I think the sprites are the same as in 2. So there's a few things that carried over from 2 to 3. Oh. So, I just bought a bunch of creatures. You see them up there in my garrison. You know, it's been the same there before as in the other games. I've got my icon there. Usually this part is not there. Maybe it was on this side, or it was kind of spread out. We've also got the resources down here. But I want to show you guys something real cool that's different. Check this out. Click on the hero. Stick them up there. Look at that shit. Yeah, you can put the heroes all the way up into the castle now, and so you don't have to deal with them fucking sitting around on the map with movement and getting the message at the end of every turn saying, "Are you sure you want to end your turn?" Somebody could still go. They could still move. Do you want to just leave them there? Yes, I do. They're guarding my castle, and now they're actually going to be inside the castle guarding, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. Well, except I'm leaving him anyway. So trying to think of stuff to say about this game is proven to be kind of difficult because it is fairly similar to the second one. In fact, I think really the biggest difference is the graphics, and if it had the same kind of art style as 2 did, it would be like kind of a Doom 1 to Doom 2 kind of you know, progression, and that there's like a few additions and just a few changes, but other than that, pretty much the same. Prisons may be new. I think he's blocked. Nope. Oh, he has a lot of stuff too, a lot of creatures. Were they all in prison with him? Did they just shove like 50 dudes into that little box? I'm trying to remember if there was a skill or something to direct how they shoot. Or maybe that's just how they work. Maybe you tell them where to shoot in this one. If I wasn't doing auto combat, I would know exactly and immediately. But I like watching how the things go. I also like getting mad when it does stupid shit. But the AI is slightly better in this game as well. It's not going to be, you know, every time you enter a battle, it's basically just how long your ranged units last, or, you know, you're not paying the ranged unit tax every time you enter a fight. Enemies will go after basically like biggest threats, or if it can easily get rid of a stack or something like that. I just ate like some Reese's peanut butter cups recently, some recent peanut butter cups that were in my car, and they had melted. And it was a lot like eating oysters, except like on a really floppy shell. Like this, I've been basically doing stuff, you know, every in-game day so far. And there hasn't been a lot of going back and forth, though that definitely does have a chance of happening later on in harder games, harder scenarios and campaigns and such. But all that kind of stuff, like, you know, you move away from your castle, and then someone comes and takes it, and you have to go back immediately and go get it. That happens a lot, mostly because you can't really afford all of the heroes that you need to go in and, you know, protect, like, each castle individually, stuff like that. You kind of have to leave your stuff open unless you've somehow gotten yourself some kind of surplus, which is hard to do because A, gold is so limited, and B, the creatures are all more expensive than in this game. But yeah, especially like some of the later campaign ones, they're really fucking hard. Like, there's the Dragon Slayer campaign in Armageddon's Blade, and I've seen some strategies online for beating it because it's difficult enough that people have to look up ways to beat it. And they mostly involved just restarting the game until this on the map kind of spell provider randomly picked this one particular spell that you would use. And that was the way that everybody beat the game, or that part of the game anyway. They've kind of got the elemental thing going on in this game. They've got... Oh, what the fuck was that? Hang on. Oh, another new thing. In this game they added the subterranean level, so there's underground shit going on the same map. That should have been obvious because I went down underground while I was talking, but I didn't think to mention it because I was talking about the other thing. Someone over here is fucking around near my castle. You ass. Okay, so this guy over here is... he doesn't have a super big army. Mine is definitely bigger, but mine are all really low tier guys. And he's got a few higher level creatures, so we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile... I'll take the castle first, and that way if he tries to come fuck with me, I'll be inside the castle. How about that? Oop. All I needed to do was capture that town. I guess I should have looked at the description. It probably told me that. Well, okay. This may be the first time you guys have seen me complete something on this show. I don't think I've played any other scenarios in any Heroes Might and Magic games. I don't think I really did anything super noteworthy in Diablo. So, hey, look at that. So this is kind of an optimal thing I have going on. I've got the one hero that's got all the creatures going around and removing all of the barriers in the form of wild creature stacks. And I've got my other heroes following up. Usually, the hero with the creatures doesn't have a whole bunch of the best creatures in the game on him, which is making things a little easier. I should probably be going underground and wrecking face with Christian here, while the other underground towns are probably still developing. And building up my town so the other guys can go through and get all this stuff and provide support or what have you. But I'm not. Well, I don't think I'm going to get much more out of this scenario or this video here. I think I've shown off a lot of the major differences. I didn't really show you guys like all the different factions or anything like that, but that's not a super huge deal. I don't think I've done that for any of the games so far. Yeah, it's... You could probably say that this game is easier to get into, maybe more casual. Definitely is something that you can pick up and play for any amount of time. Leave it, come back to it, play for 15 minutes or 5 hours or what have you. And it'll keep you entertained for however long you choose to play it as well. Super fun game. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get in any reasonable amount of time something good to show you. So, yep, that's Heroes 3. Great fucking game. I love it. Thanks for watching. See you next time with Heroes 4. Bye-bye.